Well, it was funny you say that because that's like my and maybe they're not the same, but Avenged Sevenfold.
Well, no, I know they wanted to be the next Metallica, and I struggle with that. And here's the thing: I think they could have made it, and I think to an extent they did. But when the Rev died, you realize who was the band. He was the
Yeah,
creative influence of the band. And here's the thing: so he is an Aquarius. M Shadows is a Leo. M Shadows, you can tell a part of his creative spark that was influenced by his brother, his soulmate, in his creative venture. Like we're talking about these relationships. I think he would be a little bit more successful if maybe he did his own thing. But I think he's trying to preserve, and I get it. It's honoring his brother. There's so much complexity in the emotional connection of that spiritual alignment and why the band went the way that it did, and where it is now. Which is for me is why I'm no longer a part of it. But I also understand why people are still a part of the fandom and like the creative interpretation. Like, so I can respect it, which is kind of potentially where Metallica went in their own way. Because, like I said, they set the intention to be the next Metallica, and I feel like spiritually they accomplished that for the early 2000s. Well, yeah, early 2000s, like generation. What would that be? Gen Z, I would say maybe. Like it depends on what age group you're talking about because they were popular for a variety of people. But if you're talking about like our age group, specifically, we're a zillennial. We're the last year of millennial, like the last year before Gen Z. So we're right on that cusp of things. So they are a voice of a generation in like a rock music industry for a variety of ways. However, you see where I think they kind of missed a step as far as like reaching that legacy status, personally. And I think that step was, I think the Rev died a little too early. I think he needed to complete the Nightmare album and then, not that he should have ever died, but like that, I think him dying in the middle of that album kind of, I think it was a spiritual test in a lot of ways, but I think they missed like a mark, if that makes sense.
yeah. Nightmare was just it was okay.
Well, there was too much grief, and that's what I'm talking about when people act without healing. Like they kind of scrambled that together, and I think if they
It
would have
feels like
taken
it.
the time to pause and grieve, but I understand. Like, here's the thing: that's probably a highlight to the music industry, and that they don't care to take the time to allow people that to process that because it's about money, about records. And you said you're releasing this record on this day and get the fuck going. It's like, dude, our drummer overdosed. He's been our best friend since we were a child. This isn't just some hired gun that we don't give a fuck about. This is, you know what I mean? Like, there's no respect in how any of that was handled. And so I don't think that they were able to put out a fair album. I think they could have honored, I think a few things. The Rev didn't die for Nightmare. I think if he completed that album, I think it would have been fucking stellar. You can hear where his energy was and where they were trying to recreate it, keep going with you can see all of that. And as a super fan who's watched all of the behind the scenes movies and videos, we geeked out over it. Like you know how involved he was. Like that spark of everything, that Aquarian energy that his Leo soulmate needed. And like it's so cute because it's a sister sign. I just think that's so fun to me because there's so much of that polaric energy. I don't know the other guys' birthdays or charts, but then you have like Zachy and Sinister who are like left and righty and doing like that whole yin yang opposite like guitar thing. Like it was such great chemistry and it was shattered. And I think for a variety of reasons, I don't think they fully recovered from it. Like I said, I think if they were either given time or if the Rev could have finished the album, they could have reached a certain level of legacy status. But I also, because like I stuck with them through Hail to the King, and after that, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, that was honestly that was Nightmare for me. Like I just went back through. It was funny because we were just talking about that yesterday and the day before. I went back and listened to Sounding Seven Trumpet and Wake in the Fallen because those are my special ones. And so I had to go re-listen to those a ton. And it's crazy because I mean they were just like one of those metalcore bands, right? kind of like now, just like one of those garage like metalcore bands having a good time. But they were still so talented. Like nobody was doing progressive metalcore like they were.